We're here to provide you insights that you need. Get ready for candid conversations and practical advice that you can implement today. Stay with us and let's grow your business together.
Elsie, welcome to the hot seat. It is Tuesday. We are back. We missed you last week while you were enjoying some time off for your wedding anniversary, but we are back this week. How's everything going for you?
It was very fitting to be in our favourite place at the lake house in Dalesford, and considering I'd almost died on the Friday before, flying in the air and smacking my head and back on the stairs, so that was fun. So it's been a bit of a painful experience, but very fitting to be in Dalesford, sitting at Hepburn Spring Spas and icing it up.
Yes, I must say, I was watching those reels that you and Lucy made while you were away, and I was very envious of that amazing food and wine that we saw coming across the social media over that last week.
Oh, look, people think that Dalesford is all hooky spooky. It's actually got more top food places than I reckon anywhere. Honestly, like there is at least 5 one-hat restaurants and two hats, and I believe almost a third hat restaurant in the area, and it's regional Victoria, and it's just amazing. Like they're just the service, the standard of, we went to for the first time ever, we went to the Farmers Inn. It's the oldest pub in Dalesford, and man, it was awesome. Like it was like a French bistro inside an old heritage pub, and it was just amazing. Like the tagliatelle with peas and asparagus, but nothing can compare to the Lake House's restaurant, which is just next level. the Wolf Taskers have done an amazing job for 40 years, and it's one of the world's best lodges. So that's our place every year. They know us by name. They know us the dates that we come. Thank you guys for an upgrade as well. We had magnificent views of the lake all morning and all night. So, yeah, just different experience for me, because normally we go walking a lot. And then we go and see David Bromley and hang out with Elle and Narelle down there. And Lucy always entices me to buy more art. So,
I did see a shopping bag coming out of the doors there.
Yeah, that was just what we took home from directly. I believe that there is a bronze statue coming soon, so it's yeah. So anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But,
we're not. But it looks like a fabulous trip, and despite being, a little bit sore after your slip, it's good that you still got to enjoy some time away. But the topic of today's hot seat is: are you swimming with the sharks? And this is really interesting because I think we hear about this in business a lot about, you're swimming in a red ocean and you've got to find the blue ocean. And I really wanted to break down with you today, what does that actually mean in terms of business strategy? So that is my first question is, what is the difference between a red ocean and a blue ocean when we're talking about business?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably answered best by two amazing authors from Harvard or Harvard Publishing. They wrote a book, actually, it is right here. Fitting that you would raise that. There it is.
I know you've always got that one on your desk.
It's one of my favourite books, and Kim and Morborn have done a pretty good job in doing that. But realistically, red ocean is a bloodbath and a blue ocean is clear water, right? But in the realm of business strategy, it's actually distinguishing between both the red and the blue oceans. Sorry, my screen's just done some weird things. It's just basically, you've moved. Where are you? There you are, Simone. It's fundamental to navigating the competitive landscapes, as well as identifying new market opportunities. Now, anyone that knows me knows I don't care much for problems. I see opportunities out of every problem. So this is the one book that really transformed the way I thought. I knew that I was special because, I never really focus on the problem. I focus on the opportunity that's within the problem. And everyone called me special. I don't think they meant it as a compliment, by the way. Turned out that I am actually pretty fucking special after all. And only because I've been able to make this clear distinction. So what is a red ocean? Let's take it from there, right? So a red ocean represents all of the industries in existence today. Okay, so that is, the known market space, the market space you're in. In red oceans, industry boundaries are defined as well as accepted, and the competitive rules of the game are quite well understood. Okay, really clear. So here, companies try, Simone, to outperform their rivals to grab a greater market share of any existing demand that's out there, okay? And as the market space gets more crowded, prospects for profits and growth diminish, okay? Now, that leads to fierce competition, which is symbolized by the color red. So representing a bloody ocean of rivals fighting over a shrinking profit pool, right? This sort of behavior we also see, and I don't want to get into politics, but we also see this kind of behavior in wars, and it's quite tribal. A blue ocean, on the other hand, is that complete contrast. It denotes all of those industries not in existence today, and what I like to call the unknown market space or the untamed competition. So in a blue ocean, demand is actually created rather than fought over. And there is ample opportunity for growth that is both profitable and, really importantly, rapid. So competition in this space is irrelevant because the rules of the game are waiting to be set. So a blue ocean strategy involves expanding the boundaries of an existing industry or creating a totally new industry. So the key differences, right, between those is that red oceans are competitive and crowded with firms that offer similar products or services, whereas blue oceans are characterized by the creation of new markets and demands as well as free of competition. Then you've got the companies that are in red oceans. They focus on actually out-competing each other, right? And that is so they could gain that bigger market share of that existing demand. Now, often that leads to cost cutting and potentially inferior products. There is often differentiation that has to occur, or people start to focus on niche markets. In blue oceans, the focus shifts to innovation and creating new demand and making the competition irrelevant. So, I want to just talk about that briefly. I get asked a lot of questions around what makes me different. When I'm having a served by chat conversation, where we're talking to people online, and people are like, "Yep, love all your stuff, but what makes you different?" Nothing. I can give you all the tools and all the knowledge that I've acquired over 80 ventures and coaching and advising 1,366 people. But there's nothing that's really different because it comes down to you, right? I can give you all the tools and all the tricks, but if you don't do the work, right, then you're just bouncing from coach to advisor to advisor. Where I am different is that I care so much more than anybody else, including yourself, about you winning, because that's what I win. That's how I win, right? And so my care factor is the differentiator. Do you know that since I've been taking that approach to explain that to people, our closing rate has tripled, as you know, because people see it. So some differentiators have to be seen because me saying I care, well, yeah, anyone can say I care, right?
Yeah.
If you're married and your husband's coming home and he's telling you that he loves you and he cares you, but he's got 2 mistresses on the side. People just don't believe shit that comes out of your mouth. By the way, I'm not referring to your husband at all. I'm just referring in general, right? So I understand that people struggle to believe that. So you've got to differentiate yourself. That's really important. The other key difference, by the way, in in a red and a blue ocean is that growth in red oceans is often incremental and involves market trade-offs, ladies and gentlemen, market trade-offs between cost and value. But in a blue ocean, right? Well, sorry, in blue oceans as such, actually offer the potential for exponential growth. And often it involves a value innovation strategy that breaks the cost value trade-off. And when we write strategies, right, we focus on what are your industry trends going to be in the next 12 to 3 years. So 12 months to 3 years, right? And people always say to me, why is that important? Mate, I'm not going to be, me writing you a strategy isn't to keep you focused in a bloodbath. I want to get you out into the blue ocean so you can win the war, right?
Yeah.
So, so that's really important. So I guess for anyone out there thinking, Christian, what can I do? Well, I think that you can conduct thorough market research to identify unmet needs and pain points that competitors are ignoring. So you can still be in the same market, but look at what your competitors are ignoring. What are the needs that are not being met, and what are the pain points? And, when I was the entrepreneur in resident of a Sandstone University and the incubator known as ThinkLab, the reason why we had tremendous success over other incubators was exactly this. Really looking at what ideas have you got, and if it's a fart of an idea, I tell you, get lost. Come back and tell me where your unmet needs and pain points of your customers are, right? And these guys would come back, and some of them would just tell me to fuck off, and I'd be like, great, you're out. See you later, because you're not cut out for this, right? So the other thing that you can do right now in your own business is focus on value innovation by offering something new that increases value while also reducing costs. So a good example of what we do is that we offer in our advisory business not only market dominating, competitor crushing strategies that we write and all of the years of experience, we also bring to the table our own media agency so we can support people in that. So not only are we writing the company strategy, the marketing strategy, we can execute on behalf of our clients. And we can either teach them how to execute, which we do, or we do it for them, right? Depending on where the business is. Then we also offer all the outsourcing services, as Dan Martell says, the replacement ladder. As they're growing through our programs. I haven't built this shit by accident. I built it by design using this strategy. Because as a coach and as an advisor, I'm in a bloodbath. How in the hell is anyone going to differentiate? The way you're going to differentiate is by listening to this show, seeing that I'm smarter than most people, right? And that's not putting other people down. There are other people out there that are brilliant. I have coaches. I have one. I'm about to get myself a second person. And why? Because I want to keep scaling. I want to keep growing, right? And the only way to do that is by bringing in that advice around me. So a really good example is Cirque du Soleil, which Chan and Renee actually talk about in the book. And Cirque du Soleil is a prime example of a blue ocean strategy. Now think about this. If you're not familiar with Cirque du Soleil, look it up. But they revolutionized the circus, right?
Yeah.
So instead of competing with the red ocean of traditional circuses and performing arts, they reinvented the circus experiences, focusing on a broad new audience seeking sophisticated entertainment. That strategic move, combined with the thrill of the circus, with the sophistication of the theatre, created a unique market space that, making traditional competition irrelevant. And they did it at a time when, Simone, there was, questions over having animals and stuff in the circus. So they flipped the dial so brilliantly. And that was not just an accident. It was strategic. All right. So, so by understanding these distinctions between red and blue oceans, companies can more competitively or more effectively decide whether to compete in the existing markets or create new ones, paving the way for innovative growth and sustained success. Sustained success. That's really critical.
This is really fascinating, and my mind is going straight to the fact that I know when I started my business in the health and wellness industry, I didn't even think about a red ocean or a blue ocean. Like, I didn't put any thought or process into this, and I actually thought that I was delivering something unique without the hindsight or the foresight of all of those things. So, what is your opinion there on people when it comes to red oceans? Do you think people are looking into this enough when they start a business, or
No,
is this something you continue to look at when you already have a business, or is this only an entry level position of
what's really sad,
strategy?
Simone, is that there are so many resources out there for people. You don't need to hire me. You can go to YouTube. You can watch a stack of our videos, but you're never going to do it on your own. That's why there
Mm,
is space for us. Um, I'm only smart because I've read books like this, and I've got
mm,
loads of other ones right here. That I'm a hardcore strategist. So for me, I've gone and not only have I gone and done an MBA, not only have I been an adjunct professor in entrepreneurship, commercialization, innovation at a Sandstone University, I've gone and dived into mastery of how do you write strategy, game theory, right? And again, how do you say that to people when people go, "Oh, you fucking know everything"? Well, that's kind of what you're paying me for. Like, if you don't want me to tell you what I know, then what are we here having this conversation for?
yeah.
And it's really interesting because people think that guys like us are arrogant. We're not arrogant. We know our job. Just because you're
Yeah.
shit at your job, don't come and make your reflection, your personal reflection on me. I couldn't give a shit. And that's why we're so selective about who we work with. Because I don't need people to take my energy, which I have plenty of, regardless of the pain or injuries or whatever, right? Because I love what I do and I'm very good at it. Just like our whole
Mm,
team, we're all really good at certain things. Like you are an exceptional community manager, right?
mm,
Like you know how to bring all of our clients together and how to get the very best out of them, right? Bonnie is really good at presenting. She's gotten really good at presenting. And so we've got to use those. And again, we use them as other strategic advantages that separate us from everybody else. When you
mm,
when you when you work with us, you don't just work with me. You work with a whole team. And
mm.
that's important. So, I'm only as good as the people that I'm surrounded by. So I've got to
Yeah.
surround myself with good people in our team, and I've got to surround myself with really good people that are our clients, right? So,
Mm,
so yeah, that I think people don't do enough of it, and why? Because it's like, why don't you hire a lawyer when you start your business? Oh, well, it's money I don't need to spend. Bullshit. That's about the only
mm.
time you should hire a lawyer, because if you hire them at the beginning, you won't need them at the end, and if you need them at
Yeah.
the end, guess what? It's going to cost you half as much. Right? If
Yeah.
you, if you, why do people not go and see their accountant when they set up their business? It's about the only time an accountant's actually useful. How do I set up my business? Great. Here's the Corporations Act. Here's this. Now work with a lawyer, set that up. Boom. Thanks very much. Then you should go and see a fucking strategist.
Mm,
It's. I just do not get it. I'm just going to go and I'm going to start, or I'm going to go and hire a shit coach because they know stuff about e-commerce. What the fuck do they know about strategy? A lot of the
mm,
guys that are out there are just teaching the same shit. It's the same marketing spin because everyone is in this cycle of desperation, right? They're in this red
mm,
ocean by their own volition because they're not stopping and pausing. If you don't have the working capital, this is what I used to say to startups. If you have got no working capital and you've quit your job and you think you're going to start a company, you're fucking dreaming. And they used to look at me and go, but isn't that why we could go out to raise capital? On what? An idea? Your idea is just as
mm.
good as an asshole, mate. Everyone's got one. Most people have
Yeah.
multiple ideas. Investors want to see capacity. Like I invest. I'm a investor of 21 companies at the moment, and which I don't own, as in I'm not a major shareholder of, but I have angel investments in them. But I actually support them with strategy as well
Mm,
because I want to get my hands in there to be able to see what's doing. But I back the founder. One company I've founded, I've been supporting and funding, 3 times failed in other ventures. They're going to nail this one. It's going to make us all filthy rich because they've learnt from the experience. I backed the founder and I pulled 3 or 4 other investors in with me and said, we need to back this person. Now, it wasn't large sums
mm,
of money, But because they understood now, they finally understood, stop going into the fucking red ocean and start looking for the innovation. The product has got ability, but it was in the market that it was being played in. It was incorrect. So I think it's really important for people to pause, right? And just learn a bit more about the difference between red and blue. And remember, a red ocean, if you're in a red ocean, you can still come up with blue ocean strategies, right? Even though you're in that same competitive landscape. Anyway, I've gone on a rant.
So it's kind of giving yourself the time and the space to actually investigate that, to get out of the rat race of living in that red ocean.
And please don't quit your fucking day job until you've got enough working capital, right? Being in business is hard work. Being an entrepreneur is not just a cool word. It's actually hard. I remember when I was being called an entrepreneur in my early, late 90s, right? Early 2000, and it was an insult. It was like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. You guys are like dropouts from school. Yeah, no shit. But actually, I finished school with good grades, and I went on to college, got 80% averages for everything, right? And not because I was smart. It's because I applied myself. I had to work really damn hard, right? Like, it's these things, but I was a practitioner. I like to get my hands dirty, right?
Yeah.
So, but as I said, this is one of the things that really changed my outset. Anyway.
Well, I'd love to sort of just work into that a little bit more and ask you, Christian, how can companies or how do individuals identify those untapped markets, like those blue oceans? Is it all about strategy? Is it like, what are you doing to try and identify an idea? I guess I'm wondering if it can be a distraction from the main thing, or is it really important to look at this?
This is why everyone's got it wrong. The distraction is doing the main thing. Do this first, then the main thing plays out easier. So it's absolutely requires strategic approach that actually involves understanding the current market limitations and exploring the potentials for innovation, right? So some of the steps that I take, and some of these I'm pretty sure came out of the book. What you got to do is you've got to start by thoroughly analyzing the existing trends within your industry. So identify what factors limit the industry's appeal or accessibility to certain customer segments. Look for patterns of dissatisfaction or areas where customers' needs are not fully met by current offerings. Now, as I say that to you, you should be going, hang on a minute, we teach some of this in customers in demand. The whole module on niche markets is this. So I've laced into this. And this is why people that come to us and do customers on demand are blown away. They go, the first 3 or 4 modules are almost impossible. No, you've just never had to think that hard in your life, because it's the step that everybody forgets. And this is why people that have failed with all these other superstar coaches out there come to us and succeed, because I have battle tested all this shit. Like, I've been through it myself. So we do it there. So 2 is you've got to, the key to identifying those blue oceans, Simone, lies outside of the existing customer base, right? So you got to investigate why certain people are non-customers. What are the common barriers that prevent them from entering your market, right? Addressing those barriers will often open up new spaces for growth. Okay. You've got to challenge the conventional boundaries of your market. You've got to explore adjacent markets or industries, and you've got to consider how combining aspects of these could create new opportunities. So you've got to think about what factors you could eliminate, reduce, raise, or create in your industry to open up new spaces. Right? So it sounds like you've got a big speaker in the background.
There is someone just speaking in the background. Yeah.
Go away. So I think that the key is, and I think in the book they have an acronym for it, but it's eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. Okay, and it's like a grid, and it's a tool from I'm pretty sure it's a tool from the book, right? I think maybe it stands for ERRC, right? I think the acronym. But it can help with brainstorming, right? And it assists in deciding what factors in the industry should be eliminated or reduced, and what factors should be raised or created to open up a new market space. Okay? So some of the other things that you can do is technology often enables blue ocean strategies. So look for technology advancements that could transform or disrupt current markets. AI is a really good example. I don't think people have actually worked out how to use it because everyone's lazy and they want an easy solution. I laugh at people that are trying to get it to write content, and then it's like, guys, I can tell by just the formatting that ChatGPT's done this, and it sounds like garbage, right? Because the more you're feeding the OpenAI with garbage, the more garbage it's spitting out. It's like teaching a child who's never been taught to read, and you give them someone who doesn't know how to read. That child's never going to fucking learn how to read, right? So you've got to organize workshops that are focused on value innovation, creating new value curves that diverge on the competition. Sorry, I've just got a message and it's just distracted my eye line. Hang on. It's my wife just updating me on one of the kids. Hang on a second. Yeah, there you go. So the other thing is that implementation has to be rapid, right? So once you've got a potential blue ocean identified, Simone, you've got to quickly prototype the product and the service. We call that an MVP. And this allows you to test the viability of the new market space with minimal resources and also adapt based on real user feedback. Who did this really well? Steve Jobs. When he launched the little
iPod?
the little MP3 player. What were they called? That was part of iTunes. iPod.
It's the iPod.
iPod.
Yeah.
He released the iPod. That was an innovation. He was competing against the MP3s. But then what did he do? He released, the personal computer before that. He released, they are red oceans, aren't they? But he created an innovation, made it one of the most successful companies in the world. They have the most cash of any company in the world. It's in the trillions of dollars, right? But a company that really resonates with me on this is actually Dyson, right? Think about it. Vacuum cleaners, red ocean, right? And remember the days of bags, right? Dyson entered the home appliance market, which was dominated by established brands, right? But what they did is they identified a common frustration: vacuum cleaners with declining suction power and bags. So by developing and marketing bagless vacuum cleaners using cyclone technology, Dyson was able to create and dominate a new segment within a vacuum cleaner industry, right? Now effectively rendering the traditional product design obsolete. I mean, and look at the fucking prices. They're charging like $1,700 for a stick, right? A vacuum cleaner from one of the biggest brands, Electrolux, was like $370 for the most expensive vacuum cleaner. So not only have they gone and created a new market, they've gone and created an entire new space to charge. Right?
Yeah,
So
I agree. And I really do love my Dyson. Actually am very loyal to Dyson, but it's even interesting to say that how they've expanded now and they're into like
hair
air
dryers.
conditioning or portable fans and hair dryers and all these other things, which again are still very red oceans that they're going to
because
play.
Because of innovation, Simone. So methodically exploring these strategies, companies will always identify or can identify blue oceans, untapped, right, market spaces where their competition is irrelevant, and it's all about growth. Like we're looking for that all the time in our business. We're just not. I don't think we're really great at communicating it to people, right? But then once people come into our world, they don't leave. So for us, it's the reverse. We've got an excellent delivery, an excellent scaling business because we know what we're doing. We do it really damn well. And once people buy into the tribe, it's like it's our family, right? And we all help each other. I keep looking at the WhatsApp community group. That's out of control, that thing. It's just like, and it's awesome because everyone's encouraging each other, helping each other. I mean, how many award winners have we had this year alone? Like,
That's probably another stat that you should be putting out there.
Well, I mean, people talk about the number of awards they've won, right?
Yeah.
you're right. We should talk about the number of awards that our clients on a national scale are being, are in the top 3 or winning, right? Because I'm pretty sure we've probably had like 40, 50 finalists this year. And out of those, a good 20% have won. But not one shitty, like, my whatever thing,
Local
like proper
Business Awards.
Telstra Business Awards, Employer of the Year Awards, Customer Service Industry Awards, like proper big awards, and why? Because that's what we want. We want them to win. We give them the confidence and we empower them to do that. And again, I'm sure there's other people that are that good that do it as well. But anyway, that's Blue and Red Oceans.
Yeah, I love that, Christian. I think there's so many takeaways in all of that. And I'd love just to close with a final thought on, if you're convinced now that you really need to look into your strategies on Red Oceans and Blue Oceans, where are you starting? Should you go and read that book?
Yeah.
Should you start doing a SWOT analysis on your business and discovering trends? Like, where do you start?
Read the book, right? You're probably not going to do it because you're lazy. If you're lazy or you want to get there faster, the book is not a very easy book to understand, right? It is written by, it's a whole bunch of guys from Harvard and whatnot, and it's published by Harvard. But it's real it's factual. And if you can't be asked, spending $25 to buy it and read it, then come and join one of our programs and you'll get it all 10 times faster. We'll help you do what will take you 15 years in 3 years. And that's my new line at the moment to people, because I'm sick and tired of people saying to me, what can you do for me in a year? How about what can you do for me in a year? Right?
Yeah.
Let's reframe the expectation. What will take you 15 years, I can help you do in 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the reality. I reckon that's where we're at. We could pretty much help people do shit 5 times faster. But if you're expecting an instant magic bullet, no book you read will give you that, because you still got to be smart enough to process it and learn from it. And, half of the books that are out there are not designed to actually give you the answer. They're designed to then you diving deeper or paying someone else to help you with it. But it's about acquiring the knowledge that then that the person you've engaged is actually intelligent enough to help you. So I would absolutely start with a book. I think we've done some. I think I've done some short little video series on Blue Ocean strategy stuff. Go to our YouTube channel, go and have a look at those. I mean, there's only like 480, 490 videos on there. Hit the subscribe button. It'd be great to hit 2,000 subscribers soon.
Yes, lots of binge-worthy content on your YouTube page. That is for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, and it's fast and it's real, Simone. It's the way it is now. I got to bounce because I got my squad meeting.
Yes.
And you've got
Let's
other
wrap
places
this up.
to be. So
100%. Christian Lavolsi, a pleasure as always to have you on the hot seat and diving into all of the strategies, the wisdom and the knowledge that you're sharing with your audience. And we are so grateful for everyone who's here with us live. For those that are watching on replay, #replay. If you have any questions about Blue Ocean strategies, feel free to hit us up in the DMs and start a conversation. It'd be our pleasure to continue on the conversations of Blue Oceans and Red Oceans.
amazing. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the hot seat. We hope today's session gave you valuable insights to drive your business forward.
Remember, every challenge is an opportunity for growth.
Every question brings us closer to the answers that can transform our businesses. Stay connected with us, follow our journey, share your thoughts, and be a part of our community.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss future episodes. Together, let's elevate your business to new heights.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the hot seat.